This is Dave, and I'm here with Ethan, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 197-inch.
On this episode, we conclude our interview with Josh Pilch, the animation producer of the Amish sketchbook segment in WEIRD the Al Yankovic Story, and director of Weird Al's Your Horoscope For Today music video.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird
It's
Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Well, hello, Ethan. I hope you had a very happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, Dave. I sure did. Although I was a little surprised that you didn't send me one of those Weird Al birthday smash-up cards from American Greetings this year.
Sheesh, I sent you one last year. You need one every year?
Well, it would be nice. Come to think of it, you didn't even send me a card, Dave.
Well, first off, I spent the whole day with you at Hamster World. Second, your birthday fell on a federal holiday, so there was no mail service. And third, I absolutely did send you a card.
Nope. I just got an e-card from William Shatner.
Did you check the return address on that?
Yeah, it came from the Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast account on the American Greetings website. I do wonder how Mr. Shatner got our login information and password, though.
Alright, yeah, anyway. Well, I guess we'll just have to ask intern Frank to secure the login information.
Let's see what's happening in Weird Al-related news!
Over the weekend was the Kansas City Big Slick event featuring none other than Weird Al.
Oh, cool. Were you there, Dave?
Nope. Were you there, Ethan?
No.
Well, we sure missed out.
We sure did, because Weird Al played baseball and he was the umpire.
The umpire from Star Wars?
No. And he played Family Feud.
I thought Eat It tells you not to play with your food.
No. And Al even performed Tacky live.
Wow, he played Tacky, the hit song parody of Happy from Mandatory Fun?
No! Oh, wait, yes. And also, past guest and friend of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, Sam Levine was there.
Oh, how awesome.
It sounds like it was a super fun event, and they ended up raising over $3.5 million for Children's Mercy Children's Hospital.
That's pretty stinking majestic.
English pop-punk band Busted teamed up with longtime Weird Al fans and collaborators Hanson for a new version of Hanson's 1997 hit, MMMBop.
The song called MMMBop 2.0 includes a sound clip of Weird Al saying, "Look, look, it's Hanson," from Hanson's 1997 appearance on The Weird Al Show.
You can check it out on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and everywhere else you obsessively listen to Hanson.
And wind up your streaming apps, because Weird Al made 2 animated appearances recently.
First up, Weird Al and Lisa Loeb guest starred as Latch and Laura on the Four Door Troubadours episode of Firebuds, streaming now on Disney+.
Weird Al appears as a Volkswagen camper van in the episode, and he gets to sing several songs with Lisa as well.
Don't have Disney+? Well, Weird Al did share a brief clip of it on his social media, and the episode will premiere in July on Disney Junior.
And in case you missed it, Weird Al was briefly and quickly shown in the crowd shot during the opening of The Simpsons' 750th episode.
Missed it? Well, you can watch The Simpsons episodes on Hulu+, Disney+, as well as a ton of other streaming apps.
And not to mention, they're always showing reruns on cable TV.
Love that cable TV, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we have some more sad news to share. Music icon Tina Turner passed away on May 24th at the age of 83.
Tina's song, What's Love Got to Do With It, appears as part of the Hooked on Polka's Polka Medley on the Dare to Be Stupid album.
And in a lesser-known connection, We Won't Eat Another Hero is a parody of Tina's song, We Don't Need Another Hero, Thunderdome, and was performed once in concert on May 16, 1987 as part of the Food Medley.
You can hear a clip of that performance and hear Bermuda tell the whole story behind it on episode 27-inch of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
From all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, Gil and chill in peace, Tina Turner.
And now it's time for What's Happening in Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West-related news.
According to Chemo's June 2023 newsletter, Chemo's next single comes out a week from tomorrow on Thursday, June 15th.
The new single is called Suryodaya and features amazing Indian vocalist and Veena player Githia Varman and Chemo on East Indian-inspired slack key guitar and Ebo steel guitar.
And that's not all. Chemo also shared that his new full-length CD is scheduled to come out on July 14th.
Chemo goes on to say that the album features many great guest musicians, and he will share additional information and news on that album soon.
All right, now it's time for everybody's favorite segment. What did intern Frank screw up this time?
Over on our Facebook group, group.2000inch.com, our friend and listener Joe Jaffa pointed out a mistake during the first part of our interview with Josh Pilch on the last episode.
As Joe pointed out, Ethan referred to the fact that the music video for Another Tattoo was released in 2013, when in fact, the song and video were both released in 2011.
Now, I know we don't even have to say this, but it bears repeating because, of course, this was all our intern Frank's fault.
Well, yes, obviously. All right, well, you see, before we allowed Frank the honor of working on Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, he was a lowly intern over at Augenblick Studios assigned to editing their website.
On their page for Another Tattoo, which is what I was referring to during the interview, the video was listed as being released in 2013.
And additionally on that page, each of the 3 times that Weird Al Yankovic was written, the quotes around Weird Al were missing.
In an effort to clean up after intern Frank's egregious mistakes once again, I tagged Josh Pilch in a comment in our group requesting that someone at Augenblick Studios fix the terrible mistakes left in intern Frank's warpath from his time there.
Now, Josh kindly replied, I tried to warn everyone about Frank before we hired him. Guess I'm going to have to yell and scream at him about this. Definitely him, and not my fellow director, Jeremy Jusset, who I constantly bother to change things on the website while he's busy doing other stuff.
We are pleased to report that as of the recording of this episode, that page on their website has been revised to include the correct year, 2011, and the correct punctuation for Weird Al Yankovic.
And don't you worry, for causing Ethan to look foolish in front of his peers, we have sentenced intern Frank to do hard time in the Chilliwack Community Correctional Center for the next 27 years.
Also, I would like to point out that I did, in fact, say 2011, despite what the website told me to say. It should come as no surprise to you that our intern Frank edited my audio to appear to sound incorrect. For messing with our show, Frank will also now be required to wear bunny slippers in public at all times. Let's see how that works out at Chilliwack Community Correctional Center.
Well, intern Frank will also be required to wear bunny slippers the next time he visits vegan burrito restaurant Burrito in Troy, New York, home of the 2-pound double wrapped in a quesadilla, Burrito, or Wizard Burger in Albany, New York. Come on down to Burrito and Burrito your Burrito, or hop on over to Wizard Burger for mouth-watering, loaded, dare I say beefy, vegan burgers. From Troy to Albany to Uranus, Burrito and Wizard Burger feed the hungry with out-of-this-world, plant-based, real food, always vegan style. Visit burritosquare.com and wizardburger.com to order ahead.
And finally, we have some exciting podcast-related news!
It should be no secret that all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast support a happy, healthy, and safe life for all Weird Al fans, regardless of who they love or personal identities.
We believe that our podcast, the Weird Al fandom, and the whole world should be a safe space for people to be who they are and live without hatred. Whether you're LGBTQ+, or just weird like Dave and I are, you deserve to be treated with respect.
For the entirety of Pride Month, all proceeds from sales in our merchandise shop over at shop.2000inch.com will be donated to a charity that supports the LGBTQ+ community.
To celebrate, we've added a slew of items with the 2000-inch rainbow logo to the shop, including brand new products like shoes and bucket hats.
And Ethan and I will be matching whatever proceeds are raised. So if you're bidding against us on eBay, now's your chance to go wild and knock our budgets down a little bit.
From all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, and yes, even intern Frank, happy Pride Month!
Well, we are very excited to jump back in and conclude our interview with the incredible animation producer of the Amish sketchbook segment and director of your Horoscope for Today music video, Josh Pilch. Let's pick up the interview where we left off last episode. So, Josh, it sounds like you got some pretty specific instructions from Eric, but was there any opportunity to sort of improvise or add some of your own little touches to what you were tasked to do?
Yeah, definitely. So when I think the first time I put the storyboard together, it was, it was pretty dry, just sort of hitting the beats of the story as requested. And then Aaron and I would kind of sit with that and he'd be like, oh, let's sort of jazz it up and, add some humor or see if we could punch up some of it, make it a little more interesting. And when young Nick Yankovic is on Rumspringa and he's looking at all of the amazing things that city life has to offer, yes. Aaron and I started to kind of brainstorm what to put there. So we had a fruit stand. I think Aaron was the one who said what does it say? It says
I wrote this down because I wanted to ask you about it. Fresh produce, already picked, no work necessary.
yeah. I think no work necessary was my addition to it. Nice. and then then there's a light bulb store. Light bulb store was Eric's idea in a meeting. That wasn't in the script. Eric was just a store that is just light bulbs.
It says light bulbs made for the finest electricity.
Yes, that was. I believe Aaron and I
so great.
sort of put that together. And then so towards the end when it's getting really dramatic and young Nick has been disillusioned and ridiculed for no one likes his accordion playing, he can't be in the city, he can't be in Amish country, and he's in sort of a homeless encampment and puts his his accordion into a drum that with a fire with a fire coming out of it. And Aaron and I thought it would be really funny if there were other unhoused people behind him throwing their forsaken instruments into fires also. So I drew a guy throwing a tuba into a fire and so that one Eric was I like this, but it doesn't quite convey the the emotional beat of the scene. I'm okay, I see your point.
That's great. Well, I gotta stop you because I gotta ask you about one of my favorite subtle jokes in the movie, and that is that when the hearse is pulling away from the factory and it reveals the help wanted sign. That is so great.
I'm glad you caught that. It was essentially scripted that way. At one point, I think there was something the hope was almost to see the hearse get loaded up and then somebody nailing that sign into the ground immediately after. But the timing wise, it didn't really allow for all of that to happen. So that was I don't one of us sort of came to the conclusion of well, I think this is the bare minimum. Hearse, then sign to let us know why help is wanted at the factory. And so I'm glad you caught that. I always wonder about.
No, that was brilliant.
I will say the one other. It's not exactly a joke or really for anyone, but a select few people. I did draw in. So for the shot where Nick is playing his accordion in the city and there's angry people walking by not paying attention, I used photo reference of my friends that I grew up going to Weird Al shows with.
Oh, cool.
That's
To kind
awesome.
of draw them in. I had to I like text. So I guess we were working on that in March or April of 2022, and I texted them like, could you please send me a photo of yourself in profile, frowning really hard? I can't tell you why, and you might not know for like the whole rest of the year or ever. And they were good friends. They were very accommodating and that's a very helpful reference. And then they were,
That's
delighted to see themselves in this movie. It was a big full circle moment for me.
That is so cool.
Yeah. It was exciting.
Was there anything that maybe you animated that didn't make it in the movie?
I don't think anything animated because like everything was so locked down with the storyboard. So like I told you about the tuba. I'm trying to think if there's anything that was like cut from the storyboard. Oh, we went back and forth on so we put in made for the finest electricity. I think originally I think I wrote made from the finest electricity. And like at some point they were like, I don't know, it's a little too like jokey joke, we'll take that out. And then later Eric was like, actually I like that, put it back. And then finally when Al looked at it, they were like, okay, it should be made for the finest electricity. So that was like weirdly a hotly debated joke for such a small part.
I love that.
Otherwise, I think like just sort of boring reframing shot stuff. I don't think there's anything.
There's no lost scenes that are going to make it into the Yankovic cut.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. I'll have to be like Zack Snyder and make it from scratch. Put out the director's cut.
Right. Josh, I'm really interested to know the first time you actually got to see your animation in Weird the Al Yankovic Story. What was that like, and when was that?
Right. So, as I mentioned, I had this fear that it was going to get cut, which you kindly eased my fear by letting me know it was there. Just a quick digression. I thought maybe it would be cut because after these like first couple rounds that I described of like storyboards and beginning designs of characters and stuff, I got so few notes from Eric and notes from Al would kind of come by proxy through Eric.
Yeah.
And so I started to think like, oh, do they already know they're going to cut this? 'Cause it just feels like, I thought there'd be, I expected more like meddling, I guess. But then I was listening to I think it was a Comedy Bang Bang episode. Scott Aukerman plays the cop in the beginning of the movie, and he said he gave his line once and they did one take and they said, great, moving on. And so he assumed also he was cut. So I was like, oh, that's kind of the same thing that I thought. Like, and really, I guess the truth of it is, what I was talking about, it was such a fast, shoot that like, I guess they just like tried to work with people they really, really could trust and like, put in the input at the beginning of the process where it's like most important, and then sort of let people do their thing and trust that they could do it. Al trusted our studio from another tattoo, and I think he's a fan of some of the shows that we've done, like Super Jail and stuff. So like, but it's just, I don't know, it's a very cool and like collaborative way to make a thing, to make a movie, and for it to come out, you know, so singularly. Like, it doesn't look like a mess. It looks like there's a very single vision to it. It's kind of awesome to see something that friendly and kind come out. Nice. Yes. Okay. So I didn't see the movie until it was released, and I asked Aaron the week before it was going to be released, I asked, can we, have a screening in the studio instead of working? and he kindly obliged. So I knew that was coming on that day. Of course, I woke up in the middle of the night, when I guess it had been released at midnight, and I was like, I gotta, go look at this thing. But so I went and looked I think I watched like the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then I went to, see if our part was in there, even though I was assured it was.
It was a big conspiracy.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Eric messaged us, if Josh asks, it's in the movie.
We've made a deal with Roku that he will be sent a version of the movie. But yeah, so the first time I watched it in full was with everybody at Augenblick, and we had such a good time with it. We didn't know anything about it other than our scene, and we didn't know that our scene was like the climax of the movie. I could tell that Eric wanted it to, like, at least in certain points, to play as like genuinely dramatic, which like it makes sense now, knowing where it falls in the movie. Like, it had been extreme. Right. This is right after, he's in Latin America fighting people in the jungle. Like, it was time for like a breath, I think. And speaking of that scene, like that just destroyed us when we were watching it. I think specifically there's the diner scene where like suddenly it's an action movie. Like we've been doing biopic tropes the whole time. Now we're not anymore. Time for action tropes. And then when it fades to the jungle, we just lost our minds. Like, oh, okay, that's what this movie is now. Like, and it was just so fun to watch it with all of them, and a lot of them had worked on it with me, and or at least had been in the room while we were working on it.
Right.
And it was and for like a small animated segment, like you never know what kind of credit you're gonna get in a movie, but they gave us a whole title card at the end of the movie. It says Augenblick Studios, and we were like, if we lost our mind at the fade to a jungle, at that point we were like, whoa, we got a title card.
So cool. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that whole whatever month or whatever, I was like riding high. People I went to school with are like messaging me like, oh, you're still like this. Like, yeah.
Wow. That is so cool. And I'm happy to report, Josh, that the animation is included in the Australian release of the film.
Yes!
The Blu-ray stuff. They didn't cut it out for the home
we
video.
know that Region 2 can see it.
Yes.
Indeed.
That's okay. That is this takes a load off my mind.
So if that wasn't exciting enough for your 2022,
yes.
Can you tell us how Augenblick Studios came to create a Weird Al video or music video. I think we can argue that in a little bit, but is it a...
Oh, I don't think we can argue it. I think we know it is an official music video.
I agree.
I'm with you, Josh.
Okay. I'm just glad we all agree. Sometimes Dave doesn't agree on that kind of stuff.
So, we all agree on the thing that feeds my ego. Great. Okay, I'm good.
So tell us about creating an official music video for not just a Weird Al song, but a Weird Al song that came out like 20 years ago.
Yeah. So, okay. While we were working on the movie, which, by the way, when I was working on the movie, it coincided with the beginning of a project that we did for PBS called City Island, which was our first like children's television series that Aaron created, and like we saw the whole thing from start to finish. So it was the beginning of that. It was kind of I think it's the first show in a long time that Aaron was like not only like head of animation, head of like making the studio run, but was show running. So he was pretty involved in anything I do at Augenblick Studios, like I feel like should, it should feel like Augenblick Studios. It should have Aaron look at it and say like, that's good. So like to get his input on the the movie stuff, like he'd be like in a writer's meeting about City Island and he'd walk out. I'd be like, Aaron, come over here for 1 second. I got to show you this. So like, it was like very, tricky to like divide up his time, and we made it work, but it was hard. So to add even more to his plate, almost completely unrelated to all of this, Aaron was asked to do the comic adaptation of Your Horoscope for Today for the Illustrated Al, the comic collection book. And the guy who kind of headed that project through Z2 Comics, his name Josh Bernstein, he's a very nice guy, and was Aaron's roommate in college. So
no way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So like basically like Josh is talking to Weird Al, and they're both like, oh, Aaron Augenblick is, an artist friend of mine. Oh, he's an artist friend of mine. He's doing a thing for my movie right now. So like they asked him to do this comic, not realizing like what a busy time it was. I mean, and Aaron could have said no, but I wouldn't have let that happen.
No.
And I don't think he wanted to let that happen either. So like, as he described, I don't want to tell his story for him exactly, but I believe like it was sort of like a weekend that he was like basically up day and night making this comic adaptation of Your Horoscope for Today. And I was so excited, like he would tell me his ideas for it, but I guess before that weekend, and I was I don't know if he knew the song yet. And I was like, oh, it's great. It's every single zodiac sign and 2 jokes for each of them. He's like, oh, great, cool. But I think he did an awesome job. I really liked the comic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So somewhere in between there, the movie came out. He submitted his art for the comic. Then like some time passed, the movie came out, and I wasn't aware of this, but like I think also at that point, Aaron, it like really clicked with him how big a Weird Al fan I am. Because like I said, I underplay it sometimes, but then when the movie came out, I'm like sharing every single Weird Al moment of my life on social media and stuff. So I think he kind of became aware of that, and so he had been like secretly, because he didn't want to disappoint me, he had been like secretly talking with Josh Bernstein and like Al's manager Jay Levy about like, look, we're an animation studio. I've like and he did the whole comic in Adobe Animate. So it was like kind of ready to like take that artwork and like move it around, like more so than a still drawing might be. So yeah, he's having these conversations with them like, we're an animation studio, let us animate the thing. And they're like, that was not part of the plan at all. And they went back and forth a few times. Aaron claims that he told them at some point, well, I've got the animation director of the sequence from the movie right here ready to go. And I'm like, I don't know how big a selling point that is, but it's very nice of you to say. And then finally he kind of wore them down. They're like, fine, do it. And then, so like, as I recall, Aaron's and my desk are pretty close to each other. So like he was at his desk and then suddenly he stands up and he's like, all right, turns around to me, like puts his hand out. He's like, you're directing the music video version of your horoscope for today. I'm like, what? I'm doing what now? And, so like, yes, like these two things are not related at all, but like it came like one right after the other. And so they were not planning to have a music video. This was not part of the budget for making a comic book, believe it or not. So like basically we were like, we need to do this as quick as possible, but we need to make it look good. And like, his comic doesn't include anything for the chorus section, so like we had to do all of that from scratch, which like I can go into more detail about that, but like that song is 4.5 minutes long, I think. It's pretty long.
It's about 4 minutes long.
About 4 minutes,
4 minutes, okay. I'm trying to make it sound worse.
It's 4 hours long, that song.
Hey, he's done some long songs. Thank God Aaron didn't do Jackson Park Express.
Right.
Well, I wish he did. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Could have been worse.
Actually, I'd love to do their version of any of those songs.
Yes.
Which, by the way, you point out it's an old song. It's an old song because it was for this collection of comics that was all old songs. But like, as a fan from way back, to do like a beloved song from Running with Scissors and like get a chance to like try to make this like the music video, I don't know, like. Every piece of this, I feel like this conversation is when I'm gonna wake up. Maybe like when I say all of this out loud, it's like this is impossible, right?
Josh, you've been in a coma for the last 4 years.
Oh no, that's longer than the amount of time that these projects took. So sorry, I got excited and went a lot of different directions, but yes, that's how we sort of it was Aaron's idea to do it, I guess, is the short answer to the question. Like, and they had to be convinced to let us, but I think they were happy with the final product. I will say my big contribution, when we started it was I was like, we need to do ska stuff, because Aaron had like these really funny like Zodiac scenes, and like the comic, you're not listening to the song, so like I think it makes sense that you wouldn't have this, but when you're hearing the song, I'm like, ska is the funniest genre of music there is. They're wearing checkered shoes and ties, and they're skanking all around and wearing hats. It's so funny. I need to do ska stuff in this. Oh, and strumming the guitar upward. I was really That was really important to me that we do that.
It's such a fun music video. So much about it. It's fun. I feel like I notice something different every time I watch it.
Thank you. That's awesome.
What was Al's involvement with it? Was once they gave the green light to do the video, was it just like, all right, just send us the video, or did that then go into like, well, Al wants to talk to you about it, or how did that work?
Yeah, they just let us go. And yeah, we just did it. I animated most of it myself. A funny thing is, one of our directors at the studio, Katie Went, she's usually my boss. She was like the animation director on City Island, and like she's really great artist. I've learned a lot from her. But so she kind of had a gap in her schedule during the music video. So like, and she was like tired from City Island. So they're like, oh, just help Josh with this project. I bring this up as well as the upward strumming guitar because I asked her to animate the close-up of the guitar strumming, and she animated it strumming down because I forgot to tell her that. And I've never felt more ridiculous in my life than when I'm telling this artist, who is often my boss, who I look up to, has taught me so much, and was like, can you actually make it strum up? But yeah, so it was all us. Like I sort of Katie and I would animate something again, like whenever Aaron was around, we'd be like, what do you think of this? I remember like, what was it? I did like Ernest Borgnine. I have him puff out his lips and
Yes.
like give a little wink, and then Aaron was like, "You should do like full blowing a kiss, like hand to mouth," and like. And I was like, "That's awesome!" Like that's kind of how it all went. Like, it was extremely fast, but like we really wanted to like, be more than Josh or Jay or Al were expecting, and I think it was like I think they would have been happy with releasing like a simple motion comic, but like we really wanted it to be like a full cartoon and like look nice. I will say in all of this, sadly my interaction with Al himself has been pretty limited, but at the end of doing your horoscope for today video, I did get a personal email from Al
Wow,
saying
cool.
that he really liked the video and like thank you for doing it. I believe, again, this was Aaron working his magic a little bit, saying like, oh, you should talk to this guy. And it obviously meant so much to me, and it was so kind and nice, like everything having to do with Weird Al is.
Of course.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah.
When the music video did drop a few months ago, you dropped your own video of you playing a ukulele and singing the fast part from your horoscope for today. How many takes did that take you?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me think. Starting at the right point was the hardest part, I think, like, because I was like listening to the song with my headphones, and what is it? It's like, I think it's just a regular, there's a 4-beat measure and then it goes right into it, but I just kept missing it. But it wasn't that many takes, I don't think. I think I got it pretty good. Look, this stuff is in my DNA at this point. Like, I remember the point as an adult when I was re-listening to Poodle Hat, and it occurred to me, oh, that fast part in a hardware store, that there's some audio digital trickery there. I thought it was possible to memorize and sing that whole thing. And I got pretty close. I realized that was never the intention.
It's so funny you say that. It just reminded me because we were talking about earlier the first time we met Weird Al, and actually that is what I talked to Al about when I first met him. Is I said,
Really?
"Did you really sing that part in Hardware Store?" And he admitted, "No, it was editing."
Yeah.
To accomplish that. So that's really funny that you say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Like, that song rules, and like that part sounds so cool. But like, we weren't supposed to be trying to go Alan Redge's Dribble Fears, Toilet Seats, Electric Heaters, and the rest. By the way, as I was like, because I don't know if you guys find this, but like, I have to sort of limit my Weird Al listening because I've learned that like when I put sort of breaks in between, then I can return to it and it's funny again. Like, so like I got to experience one of those moments, like when the movie started up. I was like, oh, I'm gonna revisit all these old albums, and I was just like, relearning all these things or realizing that I still had so much of it memorized, and like I was really loving Poodle Hat all over again. Like, I don't know why, but Party at the Leper Colony was like making me laugh so hard while I was working on this project. That might be kind of a problematic song at this point, but it was really making me laugh. Do we say leper anymore? I don't know.
I don't know. I would say that would be a good video, I think, to take on if you feel like, directing another official Weird Al music video. Maybe you can get one for Party at the Leper Colony going.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I mean, that'd be incredible. After that one, like I sort of started to form a list in my head of like what would be my
top 3. What are your top 3 that you'd love to do the music video for?
Okay. Everything You Know Is Wrong.
Perfect. Yeah, of course. You're a big They Might Be Giants fan, so that makes perfect sense.
Yes, I am. Yeah, that song's incredible. Then I would say Biggest Ball of Twine. Just to animate the actual narrative of that, I think would be
incredible.
So fun. And then number 3. What would it be? I'm like tempted to say another long one like Albuquerque, but let me think. I want to go older. Something from Stuck in the Closet with Vanna White.
Ooh. That's a lot of stuff going on. That would be a fun one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be okay. I'm telling you, top 4. It would be Dog Eat Dog or One of Those Days.
Oh, okay.
Oh yes, also
Dog
good
Eat Dog
choices.
to do like Talking Head stuff. I got to do ska stuff. Then
Yes.
Whoever's listening, somehow make this able for me to do this.
I'll give you $5. I mean,
Yeah, that should be fine.
okay.
These aren't some of your famous wooden nickels, are they?
Well, yeah. I give you 5 wooden nickels.
It can be.
All right. Hold on, I'm looking for Mr. Goodbar real quick.
Okay. I think when your horoscope for today sort of unexpectedly dropped, at least unexpectedly, Dave and I, the one that I thought about I would really love to see a music video for is Nature Trail to Hell. I think you guys would do a killer job on that.
Yeah. That is so in the Og and Blick wheelhouse. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that would be so fun.
Oh, you know what? This, if I have a regret from working on the film, there was a point when we were talking about there being sort of like writing in the sketchbook, like notes that Nick had taken. And if we had gone that way with the design, I was determined to put in Satan Eats Cheese Whiz backwards. Cause like, yeah, I don't know, to just like bring that in again. But it's not there. Just a thought in my head. What's the I Remember Larry one is like, you sure have a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah, wow, you must have a lot of free time on your hands. Yep.
It's so funny.
Oh, I love it. Well, Josh, you got to tell us real quick about your podcast, Big Town Improv.
Oh, wow.
What is that about? Where can we check that out?
You know, I haven't done an episode of that in a while, but I am kind of proud of that. It's it wasn't meant to be a quarantine project, but it's what it became. But like, I think a little bit before that, I had visited LA and I met up with a friend that I did improv in college with, and we were just like, we miss doing improv. Like, I love podcasts. I want to like try to make a podcast, and so every week for the year or so, we would. I feel like maybe the episodes would come out too long because we were having so much fun, but we would do, first of all, we would do like a bunch of like short improvised scenes that were like based on stories that we were telling. And then afterwards we would always try to do like almost kind of like a movie length, full like narrative story that we were improvising. And it was just, I don't know, it was just like a really fun way to, I guess get our creativity out and like try to be funny and make each other laugh. And we had some of our friends from school come on and like also play pretend with us. And I'm really happy with like, some of those episodes in particular. I think like the very last one I posted, I liked that one a lot. It was kind of a good one to go out on. I don't know. I may return to it someday. I love doing improv. It's I get to indulge a lot of my creative interests living in New York, which is great. I kind of try a lot of different ones. Yeah, I don't know. Did that explain that show at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Josh. So obviously we're very familiar with your work in WEIRD the Yankovic Story and your horoscope for today. But I'm just curious, is there anything that you've worked on that maybe you feel just didn't get the attention it deserved? In other words, I'm asking, are there any hidden gems that we or our listeners should sort of seek out?
Okay. As for Augenblick stuff, the very first job I worked on with them was a series called Golan the Insatiable, which was a animated sitcom starring Aubrey Plaza as a little girl who summons a demon to be her best friend, which I think there is now another show with Aubrey Plaza with that same plot. But Golan the Insatiable got it was for Fox's animation domination high definition block, which I think before it even aired, stopped existing. so it really got buried. But I think that show was good. Like it might be on Amazon or something. If anybody can watch Golan the Insatiable, I suggest watching it because I think it's funny. There's an actress we work with a lot named Rachel Butera who plays like
She does a lot on
you know,
Howard
yeah.
Stern. Yeah, I'm familiar with her.
Oh, great! Yeah. She plays like the teen sister on that show, and like does the weirdest performance. She's like, "Hey, everybody!" Like that's her voice for a teenage girl, and it's so funny. In my personal world, I've been going back again, an old project, but before I was getting animation work regularly, I did a web comic, very humbly titled The Josh Pilch Show, which you can still find at thejoshpilchshow.com. And it's, interestingly, it is a fictionalized autobiography of my teen years. So it's like, it's like in the style of a teen drama, but like with me as the character, and with like some events that are true about my life and some that are complete fabrications. I don't know if anybody maybe secretly read that and got some ideas for what they should do with their movie, but I got to revisit that project recently. Here in Brooklyn, there's this show, a live show called Carousel, where people read their comics live to people, and so
cool.
yeah, I got to read it. I'm like, this is good. People should look at this. Nobody looked at it at the time. I'm proud of it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, those are my hidden gems.
Excellent.
Josh, this was absolutely incredible having you on the show. We can follow you on Instagram at The Josh Pilch Show, and we can also check out your long-lost webcomic series over at thejoshpilchshow.com. We can check out some of your work airing City Island on PBS, and of course, if we want to dig into the archives and listen to Big Town Improv, your podcast, we can do that as well.
Yeah.
We thank you so much for joining us, Josh. This was just a blast.
Yeah, no, same here. I want to talk about Weird Al all the time, so this it was perfect for me. And thank you for letting me know that the scene is in the movie. I'm forever in your debt.
Let me double check. It's still in. Yep, it's still in. It's still in.
Still there.
Okay, I got my eye on you, scene.
Well, thank you. That was so much fun talking to Josh. Don't forget to check out Josh over on his official Instagram account at The Josh Pilch Show, and be sure to visit him on his website, thejoshpilchshow.com.
And as Josh mentioned, his Instagram is full of awesome behind-the-scenes photos and drawings from the animated Amish sketchbook segment.
Oh, that sound means that we have a voicemail on our 347 Spatula hotline, the official hotline of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. Oh, I can't wait to hear this one. Let's play it, intern Frank.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Ethan. That should be everyone. I was just calling to wish Ethan a very happy birthday. That's it. Bye, guys.
Wow, Jackson, thank you so much for the call and the birthday wish. I really appreciate that. Dave, I just wish you could have sent me a card.
Oh, it looks like we have another call on the 347 Spatula hotline. All right, let's take a listen to this one.
Hey there, Dave and Ethan. It's your old pal Chris, the cartoon-loving geek from Canada. Well, I can tell by the old Ed McMahon-themed clock on the wall that once again it's time to celebrate Ethan's birthday. That's right. Happy birthday, Ethan, old buddy. And to help celebrate this special occasion, I got you something extra special. That's right. I got you 2 tickets to someplace amazing. And no, it's not the Charles Nelson Riley Museum. I really did try to get you tickets to those. I really did. But they were sold out for the entire year. Can you believe that? Well, nevertheless, I instead got you 2 tickets to a place that's just as fun. But I'm not telling you what it is. You'll just have to wait until it arrives in the mail to find out where you're going. And that's provided Frank doesn't mess with the mail again, but you know what I mean. All I ask in return is that both you and whoever you choose to go with you have fun. Now, I'd go with you myself, but I can't. I've already got my hands full working on decorating and creating the sets for my town's theatrical production of Germs vs. Amoebas, the musical, so I'm kind of committed right now. Oh, and just in case you're wondering, Dave, yep, I got you some tickets for your birthday, too. They're just not for where Ethan and his guest are going. I actually got you tickets to a place that's equally fun, but you're going to have to wait until your birthday rolls around in July to find out where you're going. So until the next time we chat, I'll catch you guys later, and Ethan, you have yourself a happy birthday and a pinch to grow an inch. Oh, and Frank, if you're eavesdropping on this phone call, which I'm assuming you are, don't even think of asking me if you're getting any birthday gifts from me this year. The answer is still no. Why? Because you don't deserve any, especially not after Airline Amy and I caught you stealing all of those cans of Dr. Pepper and bags of salted peanuts from our flight to Minnesota. And don't try that old, I was just doing it to feed my hungry family routine, 'cause I ain't buying it. Okay, well, that's it for me. Ciao, guys.
Wow, Chris, thank you so much for the excellent tickets. As you may have heard earlier in the show, I did take Dave along with me as my special guest to Hamster World, and we had a really swell time.
Yeah, the whole day was going great, but I did get a little queasy on the hamster wheel.
Well, Dave, so I brought you to Hamster World on my birthday. You know, have you picked who you're going to bring to your special place on your birthday?
Oh, I sure did, but you're going to have to wait till July to find out who it is.
What?
This episode is brought to you in part by Discover Darwin, promoting tourism in Darwin, Minnesota. Not only is historic Darwin, Minnesota beautiful, it's also brimming with nautical nonsense.
Today, June 7th, 2023, is a very special day in Darwin, Minnesota.
You don't say.
I do say.
You're not just going to say something lame like, well, every day in Darwin is special, are you?
Well, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. Everyone knows March 4th isn't a special day in Darwin.
Oh? Why not?
That's the date Dassel, Minnesota was incorporated in 1878. Nobody in Darwin likes that stupid day.
They better not.
Anyway, my special day claim is backed up by forecasts and predictions, all based on solid, scientific, documented evidence.
Ooh, wonderful. Please proceed.
Nautical twilight in Darwin, Minnesota today started at 4:05 a.m.
Yawn. Nothing special about that.
Correct, Dave, but nautical twilight will end tonight at 10:27 p.m.
No way! Wait! What's nautical twilight?
So visit Darwin, Minnesota on your next nautical twilight expedition. Discover Darwin, more than just the twine ball. And after you visit Darwin, Minnesota, be sure to attempt to visit discoverdarwin.biz.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast is brought to you absolutely free thanks to our incredible sponsors, Burrito, Wizard Burger, Jackson Scoggins, and Discover Darwin. Our podcast is also supported by everyone else in our Patreon family, with special thanks to our amazing close personal friend level Patreon supporters. Zach, Dana B, Blair, Kev, Javier, Ron, Scott, UH Jeff, Mike, Matt, Kenneth, Gus and Alicia, Allison, Adriana, Ajax, Jake, and Zeb. Also thanks to Richard G and everyone else in our pretty stinking majestic Patreon family.
If you enjoy our family-friendly Weird Al podcast, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/2000inch. There are awesome benefits like getting your name on the podcast, your own private RSS feed, which gives you early access to each and every bonus episode, and the self-satisfaction of doing something important with your otherwise pitiful, meaningless existence. And now would be a good time to join if you haven't already, because you'll be the very first to hear each and every one of our remaining brand new, ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episodes the instant they drop.
And don't forget to check out our official merchandise shop over at shop.2000inch.com to celebrate Pride Month. All proceeds from sales in our shop during the month of June will be donated to charities that support LGBTQ+. That includes proceeds from everything in the store, not just the new Pride stuff. So stock up now and support a good cause.
We love hearing from our listeners and other Weird Al fans, so be sure to join our Facebook community at group.2000inch.com and visit our Discord server for even more riveting Weird Al and Red Rum to Goody related conversations. You can find both of them linked on our website, as well as information about past episodes and guests over at weirdalpodcast.com or 2000inch.com.
And while you're there, be sure to click on Ridiculously Self-Indulgent bonus episodes and follow along with our Adventures on Tour, and click on Black and White and Weird All Over bonus episodes, and follow along with our special series where author John Bermuda Schwartz walks us through his first book page by page and picture by picture. And you can head on over to 1984publishing.com if you'd like to grab an extra copy of the Lights, Camera, Accordion box set. There are only a few left, and it's no longer limited to just one per person.
Keep up on new episodes, podcast news, and events by following at 2000inch on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. Not only does subscribing and leaving positive reviews help the podcast, all of your favorite songs from the late 90s will be updated and reissued as version 2.0, featuring a British pop-punk band. Plus, we also love it when we receive voicemail via official, patent-pending 27-hour-a-day podcast hotline 347 Spatula, as seen in the Illustrated L. That number is 347-772-8852. Give it a call and you might even hear your message in a future episode.
Thank you once again to our guest, Josh Pilch, for joining us this episode and last episode. Thank you to Alexis Adams, Joe Jaffa, Chris Sear, the cartoon-loving geek from Canada, Jackson Scoggins, Johnny O'Hearn, the Weird Al encompassing song list, Jeff Morris and DMDB.org, the Swedish Chef, and Jeff Nucera. Thank you to the Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West for our incredible podcast theme song. And thank you to Weird Al Yankovic, as this podcast probably would not exist without him. And a big thank you to all of you, our loyal listeners, subscribers, Patreon supporters and sponsors, and everyone else who has made our podcast possible over these past 4+ years.
Thank you for choosing Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. And until next time, remember to gill and chill, keep listening to Weird Al, and stay cheesy.
All right, I almost hate to ask this, but do you think Intern Frank messed up anything on this episode?
Oh, absolutely. No question.
I mean, has Frank ever not messed anything up?
Actually, yes.
Really? What?
He has never messed up his perfect streak of always messing something up.
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 197-inch.
Jewel? I don't have any of her CDs. I like Hanson.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast is brought to you absolutely free thanks to our incredible sponsors, Burrito, Wizard Bergen.
It's like the Swedish Chef. Wizard Bergen, Ergen, Jerks and Skirgins, Discur for Derwin.
Now we gotta thank the Swedish Chef and their thanks. Pork.